Are we in the performance studio at Hollywood? No. Are we on a golf course? No. We are actually in my editing studio. As you can see, it's a big mess. It's so messy in here. I'm sorry. Sorry. This is awful. Why are we in here, you ask? Well, I'm not going to give you an editing lesson unless you want one. We could probably do that on a different channel if you want. But no, today we're focusing on a training aid that can be used at home in a small, confined space to benefit your golf game. What the I hope you don't feel put out, the fact that we're in this room, you know. Does that make sense? Today we're testing PuttOUT. Now, training aids at home, over the last few years, I don't need to go into detail why, have been very popular. Now, in hindsight, if I could have started a business before said issues happened, you could be very rich by now, let's be honest. PuttOUT did this years before this issue happened. We're on the same page here, yeah? We were stuck at home, not being able to go to a golf course or anywhere, and our only chance of practicing, keeping the swing up to speed, vice versa, was with home training aids. So there are a few things we're going to be testing together today. It's not just a case of a mat and a little device. There are a few things that work together to really give you some structured practice at home. Of course, if you're traveling and your hotel room has got carpet, you can use a carpet. But if you haven't, like we've got laminate floor here, you need a bit of you need a putting mat, otherwise your putting speed is going to be like 180 miles an hour, which I don't think the wall would like that, honestly. So one of the things we're going to be using today is, of course, a PuttOUT putting mat. So I think this is the medium. It's probably 8 to 10 feet. I'm not very good with measurements, but it's a perfect size for practicing some short length putts and some long putts. That's one part of this puzzle. Then we've got this baby. This is the PuttOUT Premium Pressure Putt Trainer. This is way ahead of its time, if that makes any sense. It sounds weird saying that because we've got AI taking over the world, but it's still way ahead of its time. So we've got the original PuttOUT, which we did a review on literally years ago now, and this is the updated premium version of it. The original one is still available, but this is the fancier edition. A very fancy perfect putt micro target. Now, if you've used this, you know how addictive this really is. To get this at the perfect pace for the ball to stay in is difficult, but it's very rewarding. This part here represents the hole. It's the exact same diameter as a golf hole. So if you roll it over this, theoretically you've holed it, which is wonderful. But your focus is trying to get the perfect pace a few inches past the hole and landing it in this little micro device. Now, you get to a point where you're holding every single putt from 6 feet, theoretically, with this. But the fact you're missing this, or it's going too hard or too fast, this is the thing where you've got to understand that maybe it was too hard, it would have lipped out. So if you get this in the hole, in the micro target, they are calling that PuttOUT the perfect putt, the perfect pace, the perfect line. If you get a few in a row, you're basically Jesus. So these two items together, if you practice with these, you will honestly get better at putting. The mat, the trainer, just the trainer if you've got carpet. And like I said earlier, for travel, it is spot on. Look at this, look, watch. Flat as a pancake. My fingers in there. Flatter than a pancake. Being at home in a little small space, being able to practice your golf. First one, not hit it, but over. In terms of pressure, it does expose how bad you are at putting. Oh! So the hazards of using this are kids, dogs. I mean, just put around them or into them. That was a bit too firm. That came a few lines back. No. Yes! That was lucky. That like kind of flicked in from the side. We'll have an instant replay of that. But as far as training aids go, small space, a mat, like I say, if you've got a carpet, a mat's still great because it's going to be even, and this is like a perfect stint for a good roll on a green. But the Pressure Putt Trainer in itself is just an absolute masterpiece. Now, let's introduce the double ball. Now, honestly, for me, that is more than enough for some really good structured practice. I'm not just hitting balls aimlessly. I'm actually repetitively getting a pace. We've got this lovely little mat here to test different lengths from. But PuttOUT then decided to bring out this baby. And the clue is in the name. This thing is a devil. This is the PuttOUT Devil Ball. And I tried this a few years ago at the PGA show. And if the PuttOUT wasn't hard enough already, this has added an extra level of difficulty. So you take this out, this is anything but a normal golf ball. We've got the plain centre, but if you slightly hit this with an open or closed face position at impact, it's going to end up on the street or something. It's not going to be a friend. It doesn't really like it. It's like a cat. It's like a putting aid version of a cat is what this is. Oh my goodness, do you see? So you're probably saying to yourself, well, the putting trainer, if I missed that, I've missed anyway. But the thing I like about this is probably, for me, extended distance from what you can do at home. Now, face position is massive the longer the putt. The more pace you put on the ball, the more side spin, the more wayward the putt's going to be. So if you can dial in that face position with something like a devil ball, then, I mean, if you're holding putts with a devil ball with a PuttOUT trainer, you're just going to hold everything, let's be honest. Putting Jesus. You know those mats you get that can all ridge towards the hole and you don't really learn anything? You could hit it 6 inches right and it still manages to draw back in. Not with this. Better stroke. Great putt. Oh, nearly got the flipping... Nearly got it all. Nearly got the jackpot. What the f... Oh, we're getting there now. Oh, that's a nice little hole. Oh, that was in. It really tests your patience, but it's also that you don't want to give up attitude. Just keep going until you get it. And I know people that have got this will understand how difficult it is and can probably vouch as well for how good it is to, it's an extreme, you know, if you're using a ball and you're slightly off and you're 6 feet away, the pace it's going at, there's still a good chance you're going to hole it, but this really exposes, especially for the distance, how much or how likely you are to miss at a great distance. So like the original PuttOUT with the Pressure Putt Trainer, you've got 2 different settings really in one training aid. If you just have it as a ramp, you've got the tapered edges, so if you miss too far to the right, too far to the left, or with too much pace, it'll be what PuttOUT call rejected. So it won't come back to you, it'll end up flying, hitting someone in the head, depending on what pace you're hitting it at. But it's not going to come back to you. Now you are rewarded with a good putt with it coming back to you. So it goes up the ramp dead centre, you've holed it, basically. Now, the mini target is where the fun really starts to happen because, like I say, it's so precise. A lot of these putts that go around the edges and come back to you would have still been holed, but to get it in the mini target, it has got to be the exact perfect alignment and distance for it to stay in the target. So guys, those are, for me, some of the best training aids out there in all aspects of the game. It's so precise. Like I say, you've got putting mats there that, whether it's down to wear or how it's been built, but you're holding putts from 12 feet every single time, and then you get to a golf course wondering why you're missing it by 3 feet left and right. There's no hiding from this. If you're not putting well and your strokes all over the place, the harsh reality is this ball and this training aid and mat are going to tell you. So guys, something slightly different. I didn't want to do this in a really fancy studio with fancy lighting. It's all about it being raw. In a little room like this, my little editing space, I want to be able to practice. So I'm not in the studio realistically all the time. So I'm in basically my pajamas. President. You can get the shirt linked below. Great shirt, by the way. So even on a terrible rainy day in Ireland, I can still really dial in on the practice, even in my little room. As far as it, like I say, as far as it goes in terms of home training aids, it's pretty hard to beat PuttOUT. Guys, if you did like that, let me know in the comment section. If you don't already, subscribe to the channel, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, live streaming on Twitch. Bye bye.